Well, hello there and welcome to another training nugget. In this video, I'll be showing you on how to give access to your clients and users in Odoo. Let's get started. Well, giving access to your clients and users into your Odoo platform really simplifies some of the transactions, especially if you want to track history and allow your clients and users to manipulate data and input information on their own without you coming along. Well, to make this possible, you'll navigate into the setting options to add the user, select setting, navigate into the general setting option, and you'll find new user option. So the simplest way of bringing a user on board is by selecting the enter email option and type in their email and then sending an invite. This will pop up into the user email account, allowing them to set up the account by themselves. However, you might also find it useful to enter the details by yourself so that to maintain accuracy of what you're capturing. In that case, you'll navigate into Manage Users, and from the Manage Users user settings, you can tell I only have one user in here. So to add the user, I'll select on the new option and I'll write the name of the new user, and below I can type their email address, and I need to identify what kind of user I am creating. I can create an internal user who will have access to a number of administrative rights. I can also select a portal user who will just access a specific piece of portal area, and I can also select public, which means access only to the public spaces that are in my distro. So in this case, I'll allow the user to be an internal user. And at the bottom section, I have all these customizations depending on what I'd like my user to have access to. For example, if I want them to have access to the sales module, I can choose if they can be the administrators or if they have access to all documents or only documents that they own. All the other settings follow the very same sequence in making sure that the user only get rights that they're supposed to get in your business. At the bottom section, there are the technical aspects that the user can have access to. For example, if they can access the basic price list, if they can access export features, then this is the section where you set up all the technical pieces that the new user can definitely access in your business. Now, on the preference tab, here you'll set up other additional settings that includes the time zone for that user, how notifications will be handled, whether they're sent into the email or they're just sent handled within the Odoo. They can also set up a signature for the account, making it look better. On the authentication section, this defines how they're supposed to access this very system. And if you use an authentication provider or you want to provide a user ID, then this is where you set that up. You will notice that at the very top section, it can tell you the number of group access that this user can generally have access to. It also shows you the access rights that are included and the record rules. If I click on the group section, these are 34 groups. I may decide to either have additional groups or other groups that I'll want the person to have access to. So if I want them to be an events administrator, I'll select on events administrator. If I want them to have access to a project as a user, I'll have that as an access right to that specific user. By just selecting on one particular group, then you give the rights that are designated for that group. I'll unselect all of them and navigate back into this new user. And you can tell an invitation link has already been sent to that user for activation. Notice that I also have access rights in this area. I can add new access rights for this specific user. If I want them in a specific account area, for example, stock management, I'll allow them either to read those documents, write those documents by checking the options that are here, or unchecking some that are not necessarily usable. I'll go back into my access rights. So I can allow them to have different read, write, create, and delete access depending on how I feel that user needs to interact with the system. Remember, all these settings are very essential when you're setting up your user because you don't want to have a user who has admin rights in a section that you don't necessarily want to have them in there. Now, I'll go back into the new user setting. And now that an email has been sent, we are waiting for this individual to connect through their email. And once they do that, this status of never connected will move into the confirmed location. And of course, on the account security section, which will activate once you had created the authentication option, is to allow the user to log in using a two-factor authentication into your machine. This increases, adds another layer of security in accessing your system. At the top here, I can also decide to have the face of the user by adding a photo of that specific user from the download section. And I can pick an image here, for example. Once all these are done, I'll navigate at the top section next to the new user and select Save Manually. If this invitation email has not been sent, I can also click on Send an Invitation Email to make sure the new user actually gets this invitation email in their inbox. Well, if I navigate now back into the user setting, you can tell that I have two users in here, of which one of them has already confirmed, but the other one has not necessarily connected. I can also decide to import this data into my computer and use it to manipulate and keep as my backup for my users. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next nugget.